everyone. My name is Carrie and I'm the Tween librarian at the Arlington Heights Memorial Library, and welcome to Tween Tuesdays, our very first one. So every week we'll be doing a new project together. So you can check out our program's calendar ahead of time, and then you'll be able to get your supplies and ingredients ready, and we can do the project together right here. So today we're going to be making no-bake granola bars. So if you haven't had a chance to run to the pantry, do it now while I go over our ingredients. So let me show you what we're going to use today. So first we have some old-fashioned oats. So if you have a different type of oats, that is totally fine. Just use what you've got. It might change the texture a tiny bit. But if you have old-fashioned oats, definitely use those. Otherwise, just use whatever you have on hand. We are going to be using, I'm going to be using sesame seeds. If you have flax seeds, either whole or ground, that's what the original recipe calls for, but you can also substitute whatever you have at home. So if you have any other type of seed, like pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, or even if you have something like sesame seeds or flax seeds, that'll work. Or nuts. If you have nuts, you can also use some chopped nuts. And then we're going to be using dried fruit. I am using apricots. You can use cranberries or raisins or whatever you have at home. We are also going to be using chocolate chips, my favorite ingredient. Makes everything better, in my opinion. We're also going to be using nut butter. So I am using almond butter. You can use whatever you have. Cashew butter, peanut butter. If you have a nut allergy, sunflower butter is a great substitute and also very tasty. And then we are also going to be using honey. So those are our ingredients. So hopefully you've had a chance to grab all of those and have them ready, and you will get started. So one of the first things, a good food safety step, is to put your hair back. So if you have long hair like me, go ahead and tie that up. And then for all of us, we are going to wash our hands for a full 20 seconds. So even if you wash your hands recently, wash them again. Can never wash them too much. So go ahead and do that right now. 20 seconds, lots of soap. You can sing whatever song you want. Just make sure you give your hands a really good scrub. Get all of your fingers in the top and the bottom. Okay, now we are really ready to get started. So before we start adding some ingredients, we're going to make sure we have a baking pan ready. So an 8x8 baking pan would be great. Mine is a slightly different size and shape, but whatever you have, it'll do. I prepared mine with some parchment paper just to make it easier to take the granola bars out at the end. If you don't have parchment, don't worry about it. It just makes it a little bit easier. So I've got mine ready to go. And now we can start measuring our ingredients. I've got a large mixing bowl ready here. I've got my measuring cups ready. Got a spatula ready to stir and scoop. And if you are working with your family or siblings, it's great to take turns. So maybe one person wants to do one ingredient and then give somebody else a chance to do the next one. So we're going to start with our oats. I'm using old-fashioned oats. We're going to do a cup and a third. So go ahead and grab your full 1 cup measuring cup and get a good scoop full of your oats, and then you're going to add that to your mixing bowl. And then we're going to use our 1/3 of a cup measuring cup and measure oats as well into our big bowl. Then next, we are going to do our seed or nut. I'm using sesame seeds today, but again, you can use whatever you have on hand. So we're doing 2/3 of a cup. So we're going to fill our 1/3 measuring cup up 2 times. Oops, we don't want this in our granola bars. So that's 1/3 of a cup. Oops, a little extra. Won't hurt. And then 2/3 of a cup. Okay, next we are going to do 1/2 cup of dried fruit. I've got my apricots and I actually chopped them up earlier so that they'd be a little bit smaller pieces. Going to make sure I've got my 1/2 cup measuring cup ready to go. all of these in here. And I'm gonna add that to my big bowl that I've got going. Smells really good. Next, we're gonna do chocolate chips. So this one is, again, 1/3 of a cup. Got mine measured out already. I'm gonna add those to the bowl. I think mini chocolate chips would work really well because they're tinier and then would be kind of dispersed better. Mine are like really big chunks, but they're still gonna taste great. All right, so then next we are gonna do 3/4 of a cup of nut butter. So I pre-measured mine, so it'd be a little easier to do along with you. So go ahead and do 3/4 of a cup of whatever nut or sunflower butter you are using, and scoop that all into your bowl. Make sure you get all of it. And if you are using a 1/4 measuring cup, then you're gonna do that 3 times. You could also do a 1/2 cup measuring cup and then a 1/4 cup to equal 3/4 of a cup. Okay, last ingredient, honey. So I pre-measured mine. We're doing a 1/2 cup of honey. So go ahead and squeeze out your honey into, you could use your 1/2 cup measuring cup, and then spoon all of that into your bowl. It's starting to smell so good. Make sure you get it all in there. I don't want to waste anything. All right. And now we've got all our ingredients in our bowl. So hopefully yours is kind of coming along looking just as delicious as this. And we are going to be mixing now. So this is another great opportunity for you guys to take turns if you're working together with siblings or family, because we really, really want to mix really well so that we incorporate our dry and wet ingredients together. And you really want to get a little bit of all this yummy stuff in every bite of your granola bar. And to do that, you have to mix it all together really, really well. So keep going, keep stirring, starting to come together, but could definitely use a few more stirs. Definitely smells really good. Hopefully yours does too. All right. Make sure you scrape the bottom of your bowl. Don't leave any little bits behind. Okay, I think mine is pretty much all incorporated. So it is looking like this, like a delicious granola bar. So now that we have all of our ingredients mixed together really well, we are gonna add them to our prepared baking dish or pan. So make sure you've got that ready to go. And then we are gonna scoop it all out in here. And make sure you get everything from the bottom of the bowl. And then once you have all of this gooey goodness into your pan, it's gonna be like a big blob, but we're gonna make it look prettier by pressing it down so it's nice and firm. You wanna really work it into the corners and press it so it's nice and flat. And depending on the size of the pan you're working with, it'll affect the thickness of your bar. But no matter what, it's gonna taste delicious. Make sure you really press it all the way in so it's nice and flat on top and fills all your corners all the way. So you have some nice shaped granola bars at the end. So really make nice and firm and flat and smooth. So this is how mine looks now. So hopefully yours looks something like that. Okay, so now is the actual hard part. You have to wait a full hour to eat these delicious granola bars. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cover them in plastic wrap, and we are actually gonna stick them in the fridge so that they firm up. And you're gonna have a absolutely delicious snack in just 1 hour's time. So lucky for you and me, I made a batch earlier so I can show you what it looks like. And I'm going to stick this in the fridge, eat it in an hour, and I'm going to go get my finished product right now. All right, so I made a mini batch yesterday, and I had to taste test it, obviously. It was delicious. And actually, you'll notice mine looks this batch looks a little different. I didn't have enough honey, so I used a little bit of maple syrup instead, and it worked just fine. So again, super easy to make substitutions. And once you have, so in an hour, once you have your granola bars ready to go, you can go ahead and cut them into whatever shape you want, squares or bars. You're going to want to wrap them individually in plastic wrap and keep them in the fridge until they are ready to eat. So I like to cut mine into like actual bar shapes, and then I'll go ahead and wrap that in plastic wrap and keep it in the fridge until I want to eat it. So my favorite part about this recipe is that it's super flexible. So no matter what you have at home, you can make it work. You can make substitutions and changes and just use whatever you have on hand. So I hope that you make some delicious granola bars. And I know I can say I miss seeing all of your faces, and everyone who works at the library does. So we would love to see your faces. So if you make granola bars or you eat the granola bars, we would love to see your pictures. So be sure to tag us at AHML so that we can see what you made and share it with everyone on our social media platforms. You can find the complete recipe on the Tween page of our website. It's also linked below, as is the program calendar where you can see our upcoming Tween Tuesdays, so you can gather supplies and be ready to make some projects with me next week. We are going to be working on learning about April Fool's Day and then making some pranks that you can pull on your family at home. And the week after that, we will be making microwave mug cakes. So thank you so much for coming to our very first Tween Tuesday. I hope to see you next week and have fun creating. We'll see you soon.